Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome to VeteransAir, the Veterans Hour. I'm your host, Douglas B. You can listen to us live the first Tuesday of every month on your Lone Star Community Radio. I guess I should start today's show telling you that today's show is brought to you by United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. That's who my insurance is with United Healthcare. A little housekeeping today before we get started. As always, you can contact us through VeteransAir through our website at www.veteransair.us. You can leave us a message, you can send us an email, or you can text us in the studio on our Google phone, 936-344-3083. I promised last month that we would be talking about suicide prevention because it is Suicide Prevention Month. Unfortunately, my guest that I had lined up had to cancel at the last minute, so you get to listen to me today. But stay tuned because we got a good show for you today. We're going to talk today about a new treatment for PTSD and military sexual trauma. You'll like this. And we're going to talk about the recently passed House bills pertaining to your property tax. Let's dive right into this. We're going to talk about the reconciliation of traumatic memories, RTM therapy, for PTSD and MST survivors. I came across this information in the American Legion magazine September's edition. The article is Mind Shift, and it was authored by Henry Howard. This is a lengthy article, but well worth the read. If you're not a member of the American Legion, you should be. But if you're not, and you don't get the magazine, I encourage you to head on over to thertmprotocol.com and learn more in depth about what this therapy is about. After reading this article and reviewing the information on their website, I'm convinced that its creator, Dr. Frank Bork, is onto something here. Now, take into account that RTM's peer review and success has had this treatment of, one more time. Now, take into account RTM's peer review and the success that Dr. Bork's had with this treatment for veterans and military sexual trauma and PTSD survivors. This may just be the therapy that you've been searching for. I'm going to read excerpts from this article by Henry Howard, and keep in mind that these statements are as written in the article. Reconciliation of traumatic memories, or RTM, is applied to help veterans, first responders, disaster victims, and others cope with the trauma. Frank Bork, or Dr. Frank Bork, is a clinical psychologist and former lecturer at Cornell University in upstate New York. He and his colleagues developed RTM, which is an 89-step process that has a 90% success rate without the use of drugs or medication. 90% success rate without the use of drugs or medication. It transforms trauma victims from not being able to handle associated memories to a disassociated state where they can talk about trauma without issue. While the memories themselves won't change, RTM alters the way in which the person sees and reacts to them. I want you to think about this for a second, because disassociation is also a psychological illness. But what RTM is doing here, it's enabling the survivor to be able to recall those memories without the trauma that comes with it. That's a pretty significant way of doing something. It's an 89-step process, 89 steps. But it's worthwhile if you or your psychologist can bring success to the suffering veteran. You can't throw a stick these days without hitting some form of therapy that claims to help PTSD and military sexual trauma victims. This is because psychology, while a science, is also an art form. Some programs work for some veterans, yet don't work for others. Let's read how this therapy works. And I'm reading directly from the, please forgive me. I thought I had turned everything off, but apparently I have not.
I've been seeing things for how they really been, and I can see it in your eyes, and still you call yourself my friend, and you've been holding out again. I've been hoping that you wouldn't be the one, but this black sheep.
It's time for my insulin. We'll just skip that for now. Yeah, I'm good. I'm golden. Look at that. What were we talking about? Oh, RTM and how this therapy works. I'm going to read to you from the article itself. A therapist certified in the RTM protocol works one-on-one with a PTSD diagnosed patient. Generally, it takes 3 sessions from 60 to 90 minutes each. After successful completion of the sessions, the patient can recall the once triggering memories without experiencing traumatic feelings. That's a lot. That's significant. The process has 89 steps, but this is an outline of how it works. 1. In a typical therapist's office, the therapist directs the client to imagine a movie screen on the wall. The therapist guides the client through a movie of a neutral event using visual variations, including projecting the imagined movie on the wall in black and white, running it backwards very fast, and from both an associated and disassociated view. 3. After the client has mastered all the visual variations using the neutral scene, they move on to the next phase. It begins by imagining themselves in a movie theater, feeling the seat, smelling the popcorn, using all of the senses. 4th, the therapist guides the client to recall and watch movies of their real traumatic events using the learned visual variations from a dissociated view. This is achieved as the client imagines themselves floating up to the projection booth. From there, they are not watching the movie, they are watching themselves watching the movie. 5. The steps might be run and reconfigured as needed. In part of the full and end. 5. The steps may be run and configured as needed, in part or in full, numerous times. Success is achieved on the final step, when the client imagines the events without the traumatic elements. 6. Throughout the session, the therapist verifies each step with subjective units of distress measurements. This allows for an organized flow throughout the protocol and ensures success. To learn more, to see if you would qualify for this, visit the rtmprotocol.com. Now, as you all know, my daughter, Princess George, is a licensed therapist. So I'm going to see if we can't get her views on this in a follow-up show. Also on the website, you can go to RTM classes to learn how to do this. So I'm going to see if I can afford to take this class, because this sounds very, very interesting. Continuing on with the article, the reason it works is because it is not normal therapy, it's a neurological intervention. Dr. Bork is now the Chief Executive Officer of the Research and Recognition Project, a nonprofit founded to advance RTM therapy. Quote, the RTM protocol at this point is the most cost-effective treatment for PTSD in the world, Dr. Bork says. That is being borne out by the scientific research being conducted. The RTM protocol was evaluated in 4 separate randomized controlled trials between 2015 and 2020. An independent analysis of the research published in 2022 supports the findings of a 90% success rate. I want to stress this, the 90% success rate. How many of us know somebody who's tried multiple therapies and still is being plagued by his or her demons? I bet that we can't not think of anybody who would be willing to try another therapy, especially one that doesn't include drugs and medication. Continuing on from the article, in Dr. Bork's experience, he doesn't see a difference in the success between a one-time traumatic event, like an accident, and one that takes place over months or years, such as abuse. For example, 36 women in San Diego were treated for military sexual trauma. A follow-up study 1 year later showed 96% of them were cured. You know, I work with a lot of veterans throughout the country, and this show allows me to reach so many more. In one way or another, veterans listen to the show and get hold of me because they listen to what I tell them. I tell them, call me. You got my number, 936-344-3083. Call me. Leave a voicemail. Send me a text. I will get back to you. And together, I had to clear my throat. Dick, if I'm getting sick, you're in trouble. Just saying it right now. Yeah, you. Don't go. Me? Yeah, you. They get hold of me because I will tell them I don't have all of the answers. But together, we will find those answers. We will find a program that works for you. This RTM, to me, seems like a very, very good therapy to start. Because I think about it. I've said this all the time, and I'll continue to say it. Everybody has their demons. Everybody has their demons. If we can find a way to objectively look at our demons and steal their power, why not give it a try? It's that simple. Why not give it a try? Where am I at time-wise, Dick? Am I too fast?
You're at 14 minutes.
14 minutes. Okay, good. Well, at 14 minutes, we're going to take a break here so we can hear from our sponsor, United Healthcare. And when we come back, I think I'm going to do sick call and then get into this property tax stuff. Thank you for watching Veterans Air. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages.
Medicare can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Andrea Corpening, and I am an agent authorized to offer AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare Insurance Company. I can guide my clients through understanding Medicare coverage options and help them discover what may make AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare a great choice. I can be reached at 281-773-6239. That's Andrea Corpening at 281-773-6239. I can help those find a plan with confidence.
Welcome back to Veterans Air, the Veterans Hour. Before the break, we were talking about RTM, which stands for Reconciliation of Traumatic Memories. If you want more information on this, please head over to www.thertmprotocol.com and read more about it. Or give me a shout, give me a text, 936-344-3083, and we'll talk about it and why this might be a therapy that you want to look into more. We're going to talk about property taxes here in Texas. But before we do that, I have sick call I have to do, because we have sick people. We have injured people. We have people that I want to let them know that I'm thinking about them. And first up is Big Tony, one half of my Apex Predator posse. Tony had a wound on his tail that would not heal and needed to be amputated the other day. Tony's okay. He's made it through his surgery. He's back home getting loves and treats from Tanya V. Speaking of Tanya V, I want to do a shout out to Chelsea. Chelsea is currently in the hospital in San Antonio. Yesterday, she had a hip replacement. So she's going to be in the hospital for a little bit and then a bunch of rehabilitation. She currently plans to rehabilitate with her mom, Tanya, so Tony will get love from both of them at the same time. I also want to give a shout out to the commander of the VFW, Marcy Phillips, with her foot. If you've seen Marcy lately, you see she's clanking around a big, huge boot on her foot. That's because she has a problem with her foot, and I hope that she gets better soon. However, if it gets worse and they have to take the foot, I told Marcy that I would be really disappointed in her if she doesn't get a peg leg. She promised me that if they have to amputate it, she will get a peg leg. I think that would be great. If she gets a peg leg, I'm going to have her on the show, Dick. For Halloween or something. So let's talk about property taxes here in Texas. Anyone that knows me knows that I've been involved for fighting for a property tax for many years. Some of you may remember my plea to City Council last year that resulted in some relief from Conroe's city taxes. Funny, the city wasn't open to the idea of a bunch of veterans camping out in the park because their homes were foreclosed for tax liens. Last year, we saw some relief from property taxes that the city controls. The city controls. But we're looking for property tax reform at the state level. And this has been going on for many years. Now, on the 9th of August, Governor Abbott signed the House Bills, House Bill 2 and House Bill 3, that resulted in property tax reform. I was there for it. So I want to let you know that while they're signed into law, House Bill 2 and House Bill 3, you need to do your part. In November's election, you need to go and vote. I know what you're thinking, Doug. I don't vote in local elections, yada, yada. November's election this year, you need to go vote. On that ballot will be Proposition 4. And you're going to vote yes for Proposition 4, because Proposition 4 makes the House Bills 2 and 3 part of the Texas Constitution. Once they're part of the Constitution, they can't take away these reforms. If you don't vote to include them in the Texas Constitution, they can be taken away by other legislative bodies. So let's all do our part. In November, we're going to go out and vote. That means everybody. I want to stand there in the voting line and I want to see nothing but veterans wearing their veteran hat. Supporting Proposition 4. All right, you don't need to wear a 10th Mountain hat, unless you're a 10th Mountain soldier, of course, but wear your veteran's cap. Let everyone know that we support these reforms. Now, Proposition 4, or House Bill 2 and 3, results in between $12.6 and $18 billion in cuts for property tax, school tax, whatnot. Dropping property taxes an average of 40% for some 5.7 million Texas homeowners and offering brand new tax savings for smaller businesses and other commercial and non-homesteaded properties. This affects your house. This affects your business. This affects your franchise taxes. So, let's dissect what's in each one of these bills. Excuse me. So, Senate Bill 2, that was signed into law. Senate Bill 2, known as the Property Tax Relief, amends the Education Code, the Government Code, and tax codes to provide for a 0.107 cent reduction in public schools districts' maximum compressed tax rate for the 2023-2024 school year. Increase the amount of the general school district residents' homestead property tax exemption from $40,000 to $100,000. So, everybody out there that's homesteaded their homes, your homestead exemption moves from $40,000 to $100,000. Why is that in itself significant? Let me tell you about my home. When I purchased my home 20 years ago, it was $60,000. And it has been increasing in value every single year. That's why we buy a home. This year's assessment is $142,000. I want to tell you that I live in a 1,300 square foot house on the backside of Conroe, not in the good area. And they valued my house at $142,000. Trust me, it's nowhere near that. However, I have this homesteaded. So I go from $147,000 to $47,000 for tax purposes. So, this bill also provides for a temporary circuit breaker limitation of 20% on the annual appraised value increase for non-homesteaded property values at not more than $5 million. So if you don't homestead your home, you're still going to get some relief from this because it caps it at 20% increase. The bill also does the following things. Prohibits the governing body of a school district, municipality, or county that adopted a local option general residence homestead exemption for the 2022 tax year from reducing the amount of or repealing the exemption. What does that mean? That means that if a school district, municipality, or county gave a general residence homestead exemption last year. That didn't happen in Conroe, by the way. But for the other places that may have done this, they can't take away that local homestead exemption. This bill revises certain calculations for the ceiling on the school district tax that may be imposed on residents of an elderly or disabled individual. Here in Conroe, our city council last year did a wonderful thing, and I was at the meeting for it, complaining about property taxes. And Marcia, I believe, put forth the motion for a discount or a tax reduction for 65 or older residents. And that passed. In the state of Texas, if you are a disabled veteran, you also get some tax relief. But it's upon you to ensure that you've got it. And if you don't have it, you have to take your award letter, your disability letter from the VA, down to the tax office and show that to them, and they'll give it to you. Your tax relief for being a disabled veteran starts at 50% or more disabled. If you are a 100% disabled, not 100% total and permanent, but just 100% disabled, then you don't have to pay property tax. Let me say this again. If you are 100% disabled, you do not have to pay property tax. Your next question to me is, well, Doug, how do I get this disability letter from the VA? You are mailed one every year in January. If you don't know what happened to it, or you didn't receive one, then your records at the VA are probably not up to date, so go update them and ask for a new letter. How do you do that? myhealthyvet.gov. It'll get you there. House Bill 2 also revises the information required to be posted online by the Texas Education Agency for purposes of calculating the amount of the elderly and disabled tax ceiling. That's a big one. That hasn't happened before. So now you can go online and go to the Texas Education Agency and go, what is my current ceiling? Because it may not be correct. The bill also provides additional state aid for school districts beginning with the 2023-2024 school year to account for funding reductions attributed to property tax changes made by this bill. So Conroe ISD, you don't need another bond because you're going to lose property taxes. You're going to lose income from property taxes. You need to get with the state, and they're going to give you more money to make up for that. Where's the state making this money? The state's making this money in other ways. And we have billions, let me say that again, we have billions of dollars in state funds that we're not using. This bill makes temporary adjustments to the recapture process for school districts with local revenue in excess of entitlement to the account for the election that will be held on the bill's corresponding constitutional amendment and its effects on local revenue levels for the 2023-2024 school year, and if approved, included by providing for the delay of an election held by certain districts to approve the option to reduce local revenue levels. So here we see the electoral or the legislative portion of this bill, especially dealing with independent school districts. It is my opinion that the money that we pay in taxes for school tax, quote unquote, should be looked at carefully at what we're spending it on. And I'm pointing my fingers at Conroe ISD. You waste a bunch of money for a bunch of projects. Why would you cut band? Why would you cut the performing arts? Why would you do that? So we have more money for football? I realize that this is Texas and football is our religion. But you know what? We need the arts too. Let's make sure that we fund them properly. It goes on to say that counties with a population of 75,000 or more increases the membership of the appraisal district's board of directors by 3 members to be elected in nonpartisan elections and provides for the appointment of members to the appraisal review board by the appraisal district's board of directors. Did you catch that? That was a mouthful. For counties with a population of 75,000 or more, this increases the membership of the appraisal district's board of directors by 3 members, and those 3 members must be elected. Do you know how the appraisal board works here in Montgomery County? Because if you don't, I can explain it to y'all. I'll have another show just about that. Maybe I'll do a special podcast. Gesundheit. Dick's sick. Everybody send him a get well card. Dick's saying, stop, don't be saying that. So that is Senate Bill 2. Senate Bill 3. Senate Bill 3 is short and sweet, but there's a lot that's happening here. Senate Bill 3 amends the tax code to increase the amount of total revenue exemptions for the franchise tax to $2.47 million. The bill prohibits the comptroller of public accounts from requiring an entity that qualifies for an exemption to file any type of franchise tax information report and repeals the authorization for the comptroller to require a new veteran-owned business to file an information report. That's us, guys and gals, men and women, boys of all ages. This speaks directly to us. It speaks directly to me as an owner of a veteran-owned business. Whether I make money or not, I'm required to give a franchise report every quarter, file my franchise taxes. And if I make any money, and I haven't here with VeteransAir, but you're more willing to, you guys, you can send me money all you want. If I made any money, then I would have to pay franchise tax on what I made. Senate Bill 3 raises the amount of my exemption as a veteran-owned business, and it raises the exemption on any business filing franchise tax. What does that mean? Why is that important? Why am I going on and on about this? Well, I'm trying to burn up airtime. No, seriously. The less you have to pay in tax, the more you can make in profit. This is like trickle-down economics. If you don't have to raise your prices to pay for your tax liabilities, then you can potentially reduce what you charge your consumers, what you charge your clients. Excuse me. This is big. Now, every single veteran out there that owns a business, I want you to pay attention to Senate Bill 3, because this talks more about your profitability than anything else. And it releases or repeals the authorization for the comptroller to require new veteran-owned businesses to file an information report. I've already filed mine, but just not having to gather all your paperwork to file your franchise taxes, that's really significant. This bill speaks to my wife. My wife has a business. She's not a veteran, but she has a business, and she pays her franchise tax, and she has to file her franchise tax every quarter. Check it out, baby. You are going to qualify for this exemption. You know what that means? Yes, I understand what that means. That means that you can go out and buy more yarn. Where am I at, Dick?
You have 20 minutes in the second segment.
I got 20 minutes left?
I'd say you got about 10.
Okay.
I'll double check.
Let's talk about our responsibilities. Let's talk about our responsibilities for House Bill 2 and House Bill 3. This has been a long time coming. Yes, your Lieutenant Governor, who's our Lieutenant Governor? Patrick, somebody or other, has fought long and hard for this. Our representatives have fought long and hard for this. Your VFW has fought long and hard for this. 15 minutes? Okay, I can do 15 minutes. I can stretch 15 minutes, good. But it's up to you, dear listener, to ensure that these bills get written into the Texas Constitution. That means that first Tuesday in November, you need to go vote in the local election. And I don't care who you're voting for, that's totally up to you. But I do care that you vote yes on Proposition 4. Proposition 4 is Senate Bill 2 and Senate Bill 3, and they get written in as part of the Texas Constitution. Because if you like these bills, the only way that they can take away what is in here is if it's not part of the Texas Constitution. So when you see Proposition 4, you're going to vote for Proposition 4. You're going to vote yes for that. Property tax is a sore subject. I'm going to tell you why it's a sore subject. Because you never own your house. Even after you pay off your mortgage, you still have to pay property tax. And if you don't pay your property tax, they will come and foreclose your house and sell it at auction. Yes, they will. After you finish paying off your house, you get to rent it each year. And the value of your house each year increases. Even if you did nothing to it, it increases. How they can increase my property tax for where I live in Conroe is amazing to me, how they can increase that. But I'll tell you my theory of why they increase that. It's because of money. Because of money. My little subdivision in Conroe here is only 5 streets, very old homes built in the 80s. But they're building a new community in front of it, tearing down all the woods and putting a new community. They could get more tax revenue if they can get those homes in my little 5-street community. If they can get them, tear them down and sell the land and get a contractor in there to build another master bedroom community, they'll make more revenue in tax. That's why your property increases every year. Plus, it's about the Benjamins. If you have any questions on House Bill 2 or House Bill 3, please send me a text, 36936-344-3083, or drop me an email at douglasb@veteransair.us, and I will reply to you. What's coming up? The only thing that's coming up that's of any importance as far as I'm concerned is September 11th, known as Patriots Day. Well, the VFW 4709 is holding a VRP, VPR, VPN, whatever it is that we call it, where we have a little ceremony commemorating the day. So we will be having a ceremony on September 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the VFW Hall on Seaman Street. It's a building with a big helicopter in front of it. The public is welcome. We usually have pizza or something, whatnot. The guest speaker for the September 11th ceremony will be yours truly. I will be speaking there, so come on by. It is rumored to believe that there's going to be pizza afterwards, but I cannot neither confirm nor deny that rumor. Do I got anything else? I don't have another damn thing. So that about wraps up our show. But remember to tune in October 3rd at 1 p.m. because we will be talking about suicide prevention, and we'll be talking about some training that you can get or that you can get for your organization on suicide awareness and suicide prevention. I took the training myself last month, and it is well worthwhile. As always, I want to leave you with this awesome song by the Warrior Song Project. While we're listening to this, let us remember our brothers and sisters in uniform that today are standing in harm's way to stand for our freedoms and our liberties. If you are wearing the uniform, I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you I'm proud of you. And until next month, stay safe and stay vigilant.
With a need to bleed you when the light goes green. Best believe I'm in the zone to be. From a yin to my yang to Z. Put a grin on my chin when you come to me. Cause I'll win, I'm a one of a kind. And I'll bring death to the place you're about to be. Another river of blood running under my feet. Forged in a fire lit long ago. Stand next to me, you'll never stand alone. I'm last to leave, but the first to go. Lord, make me dead before you make me whole. I feed on the fear of the devil inside of the enemy faces in my sight. Aim with a hand, shoot with a mind, kill with a heart like Arctic ice.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a soldier and I'm marching on.
I am a warrior, this is my song.
I am a warrior and this is my song. I bask in the glow of the rising war. Lay waste to the ground of an enemy shore. Wade through the blood spilled on the floor. And if another one stands, I'll kill some more. Bullet in the breach and a fire in me. Like a cigarette thrown to gasoline. If death don't bring you fear, I swear you'll fear these marching feet. Come to the nightmare, come to me. Deep down in the dark where the devil be. In the mall where the jaws and the razor teeth. Where the brimstone burns and the angel weeps. All that the gods have across your path. And my silhouette hangs like a body bag. Hope is a moment now long past. The shadow of death is the one I cast. I am a soldier and I'm marching on. I am a warrior and this is my song. My eyes are steel and my gaze is long. I am a warrior and this is my song.
We're not just going to shoot the bastards. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder them.